Namo.
So I just saw Band-Aid put up this video 5 days ago. I've not seen it, so I just thought I'd watch it and comment as live as to whatever came up. It sounded quite interesting, so let's give it a go. Hopefully the sound will be synced up, but yeah. Anyway,
Tassa Bhagavato Harahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Homage to the Buddha, the Blessed Noble, and fully self-awakened one. So I just picked up on a discourse, and it's concerned with how we discuss things with each other, how we talk to each other. So in this age of great polarization, I thought, well, let's see what the Buddha has to say.
that's interesting because personally I struggle with talking to people. Not because there's something socially wrong with me, or I can't talk to people, or cannot communicate with people. My issue with talking to people is, well, there's 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 various types of talking to people, which is transactional. You're buying a coffee or whatever. There's kind of supportive, which is like, oh, I've just broken up with my girlfriend and want to have a chat. And then there's instructive, which is here's how to do something, or how do I do something. Um, but there's the other kind of chat which I struggle to get is kind of just like chat for its own sake, right? Just just talking to someone over about anything for ages and not getting upset or not getting um, kind of I'm right, you're wrong, or just going, actually we can both take both sides. Just having that kind of like conversation for enjoyment uh, is quite hard for me to find, and that's why I kind of do this kind of stuff, because potentially Bante is one of the few people I could have a conversation with like that. But this is as good as it gets because everyone is busy, and yeah, it is hard to organize in life.
It comes from the Anguttara Nikaya, which is a collection of the small discourses. And it starts off like this. There are, mendicants, these three topics of discussion. What three? You might discuss the past. This is how it was in the past. You might discuss the future. This is how it will be in the future. And you might discuss the present. This is how it is at present. Now, at first, that seems a bit sort of obvious. But of course, they're three very different conversations.
It's not obvious because uh, I never mentioned it because uh, I generally, well, I guess you can apply the past, present, future to all of the conversations I mentioned. Um, so it is not the root level of conversation, I think, as I was thinking about it, but it is like uh, a layer on top of those kind of conversations, I think.
The first one is all about memory and about opinions about memory and what we thought had happened. The second one is all driven to some sort of future idea, some idealism, and there could be arguments about that. And the present, of course, is sort of an attempt to see things as they are, but of course, everybody sees things differently. So there's all sorts of argumentation. So what the discourse does is it takes the process of discussion. The first one is the skill in questions. So you can see whether it's worth talking to somebody Here they would say the discourse says a person is competent to hold a discussion. But what it means is whether it's worth you talking to them.
So I was reading this about some Greek stuff. I think it was like Ilunkus or something like that, where basically uh, if you have a hypothesis of some kind, you have a conversation, you have a discussion to logically uh, rip it to shreds, and if you can get through that argument, then you have a good hypothesis. But otherwise, there's some logical fallacy somewhere, and it gets ripped to shreds. But the basically, it's not. It is through a conversation. So that is the key bit. You're testing your thinking by having a conversation with someone who is sort of playing devil's advocate, or is equally competent at either taking that argument or breaking it apart. So having that, it is a conversation. So I think I think this is what he might be saying.
And remember at that time, when you read the discourses, they didn't have recording machines, remember? So the way that you got people to be clear was to ask the question 3 times and to make...
So I find the screen recording quite good because it lets me take in information and also provide my own thoughts on it. And it is mainly recorded for my benefit because I don't really expect anyone to watch this or become an influencer through it or make loads of money. It is more I record it for my own because once I've said something, it disappears, right? So once you say something, like you can't necessarily remember exactly how or why or when or the context of what you said in a week or a month from now. But I can go back to the YouTube video and go, actually, do I still think the same as I did back then? So I recommend it. It's kind of like journaling, but easier.
Sure, is that what you mean? And it was done either as 2 individuals or in a group, so that the position taken was clear, what was said was clear, and that would undermine silly arguments. And at that time, they had a sort of imagination which is called reproductive imagination, not like ours. If you see a car crash, you'll see it one way, and then you won't be sure that you've seen it because you didn't record it fully, and there'll be questions asked. In those times, they had what was called reproductive memory, imagination, and they were very good at remembering things. Even
so, this is goes back to probably even before the written tradition, which was passing all this stuff, religious scriptures and teachings of Buddha and the Indian Vedas and stuff through an oral tradition, which is a repetition and remembering things precisely. So some people were good at that, and they were the keepers of the knowledge because they could recall it precisely. And what is happening these days is that there is no kind of authoritative keeper of the knowledge. It is all opinion and hearsay and, to overuse the term, fake news, etc. So there's no necessarily any objective truth as to what happened, when and how, and for what reason. And I think this is why I'm so fed up with things like the legal system and court system, because for me, like a court case, all court cases should be open and closed, open and shut, black and white, because either you did something or you didn't, and you're being accused of doing something which you did do, or you're being accused of something that you didn't do. I mean, for a court case to go on for ages, like someone's lying and like wasting everyone's time. So, like, if you did it, say you did it, and if you didn't, say you didn't, and if it's some fucked up thing that you shouldn't even be in court for, then feel free to waste everyone's time, because like, that's the meat of what lawyers do, is that for their hourly fee. Fucking waste everyone's time.
And today, at the 1956 Sixth Great Council held in Burma, there were 6 monks who knew all the scriptures, all the Abhidhamma, and all the Vinaya, the rule of the monks. I mean, that's a massive amount of literature. They knew it off by heart. And when the questions came about certain passages in the scriptures, which were maybe not quite right or whatever, it was these people, these monks, who became the experts, who would quote directly from the scriptures. Okay, so, just as an aside, by the way, it seems that the Brahmins, they teach their children the scriptures and learn them by heart, and they're concerned with pronunciation. Only when they can learn that do they actually add the meaning of the words. And only when they've got the words and the pronunciation together are they allowed to discuss what the scriptures say. Okay, so here are the sorts of questions.
So the reason for that, right, is, and this is my personal experience from this, is that firstly you have to learn the language, right? So firstly you have to learn the sounds and how to say the language and how to pronounce it correctly and stuff. And it is a different language to what is normally spoken, so you have to learn how to say it properly. Secondly, you have to remember the content of it, which is what he's saying, which is what are the words and stuff, and they have no meaning to you, because like you can say it and you can remember it, but it doesn't mean anything. And thirdly, the third part is about knowing what the meaning and stuff is, which is actually learning the language, which is difficult because we're talking about Sanskrit here. It is not that it is not possible to know what it means. It is just it is a language which is ambiguous, right? It can mean a lot of things depending on your personal life experience, right? Which is why the older people teach it to the younger people, because younger people are not able to filter out what particular meaning is. And you get Sanskrit dictionaries and stuff, sure, but one of the things with Sanskrit is like you can look at a word and it has a meaning, and the word in the context of a sentence has different meaning, and the word in the context of a paragraph has a completely different meaning. And it's a language that kind of has different meanings at different levels of scale within what is being read or spoken or said or trying to be constructed. So lot of Buddhist literature was in Sanskrit, and it is you have to be also culturally embedded in the society of Sanskrit speakers and that kind of thing to actually fully understand it. And it is not like you can do Duolingo Sanskrit and suddenly start spouting rhetoric on the Bhagavad Gita or something. It is a very interesting language, and it is a very interesting language.
Somebody can ask. So when a person is asked a question, if it needs to be answered categorically, and they don't answer it categorically, then that shows they're not worth talking to. So one of the things that you might say in Buddhism is the Buddha impermanent? And if they prevaricate yes, no, maybe, and all that, then what we want is a clear statement. Yes, it is. Another one is UK a European country? Now, I should say yes. Lots of UK people don't think they are, I think. but that's what should be said, at least geographically. Now, the next sort of question might need analysis. So one regular question is Buddhism a religion? So then you have to ask, well, what do you mean by religion, right? Another one is when the Buddhas did.
I think, and this is, I think this is where, like, a lot of seemingly simple questions create a lot of division, because the terms are not defined, right? Which is like a simple question like, does God exist, right? And like the terms are not defined, right? So you go, yes, but what is God? What do you mean by exist? What do you mean by does exist? Do you mean at a point in time, or like always? Or and you just go, all right, but I just asked you, like, does God exist? Just give me a yes or no answer. Like, prove it. And you just look at this person going, you prove it. I don't think he exists. I think he exists. My God is whatever. And you just go, mate, you have not understood the question. And the answer is the answer is not the reason why you should do stuff or not to do stuff, because because your understanding is so lacking that like anything I tell you will be a waste of time.
Describing this whole idea of not self, he starts off with control. How much of the body can you control? Is it under your control? Can you make it grow taller, etc.? So then you'd have to say, well, when he means control, he obviously means the body as an organism, but obviously I can move it around. I do have some ability to control it. And of course, what he's really pointing to is sickness, aging, and death. Yeah. Now, sometimes you ask a question, it needs a counter question. So one Dharma question would be, are the ear and nose the same? So you say, well, in what way? You say, well, in their function. Well, yes, they are. They're the same. They both perceive. These days, of course, we have this whole thing about immigration. So a question might be, should immigration be allowed to stay? Well, then you say, well, what type of, what are the types of immigrants that are coming to the country? And can we make distinctions?
And also, like, sometimes I think, like, it is much harder to ask a good question than give a good answer, right? There's plenty of good answers to bad questions, and plenty of bad answers to bad questions, and plenty of good and bad answers to good questions, right? But the good question is is quite hard to ask. And I've tried to, like, recently I've tried to ask people good questions, right? And what I've noticed is, like, if the question is actually good, what happens is the person thinks about the question and the answer, right? They think about it. They go, what? Oh, that is, then they actually go, that is quite a good, that is a, that is a tough question, or that's a good question. And they go, and they think about it. So I think, like, if more people ask those kind of questions, which actually stop people from giving some kind of pre-canned answer, actually go, what? Let me think about this question. It is difficult. And they go, and the best answer is, like, probably like, I don't know. I need to think about it some more. I'll get back to you, or some shit like that, right? Because you've gone, and I've spent probably the last 4 or 5 weeks when I speak to people trying to think, from what I know about this person, what can I ask them that is a good question, right? That won't get me this yes, no, or a bullshit answer, right, or a lie. And uh, I can't off the top of my head remember, like, what those questions are, because they were specific to certain situations and people. But try it next time with when you're speaking to someone or whatever, or before you speak to them, thinking about what you're going to ask them, about a question that'll make them go, that is a good question, because that is your answer, whether it's a good question or not.
As a teacher, you see, a Vipassana teacher. So I might say to you, how's your practice going? And you say, oh, yeah, that's good. Now, if I'm a bad teacher, I'll say, oh, very good. I'll take your word for it. But if I'm a good teacher, then I'll say, well, in what way, you see? And you say, well, my mind is more quiet. I'm able to see process more clearly. I say, sadhu, sadhu. If you say to me, well, I'm feeling a lot happier, I say, no, it's not about happiness. That's the end product. And then there are questions that should be set aside. So in a conversation, somebody might ask you a personal question. So you don't have to answer that, even if it seems to be relevant. Now, in the Buddhist teachings, there were 10 questions.
And also, there's this thing of someone asks you a personal question, right? And you say, I don't want to answer it. And they go, all right, I've got my answer then. And you just go, mate, I don't want to answer the question. You haven't got an answer because I haven't given you an answer. Like, whatever answer you think you've got from me, like, it's probably harmful in some way, because, like, it is not the answer I've given you, which is, I don't talk about this, or I don't want to answer your question. So when people get asked personal questions, what they do is they lie and give the person the answer they are expecting, or the answer that is normal, or the answer that is least likely to cause them harm. Like, oh, what about this? And you go, oh, no, mate, not for me. And then you just go, sorry, what the fuck? Because, like, the third person in the room is just sitting there going, right, okay then. And this is how I'm constantly in this state of mind. I'm just sitting there, just looking at people having conversations or listening to conversations, just going, sorry, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And this is just me in constant. I just sit there going, honestly, the number of times in my head I just go, what the fuck? And it is, and I just go, I'm out. I can't deal with this. I just put my headphones in.
That he wouldn't answer. They are known as the avyakata. They are the undeclared 10 statements or questions. So first of all, they run like this. Is the world eternal? Is the world not eternal? Is the world finite or is the world infinite? So that he wouldn't answer. I don't think he'd know, frankly. Although I have to say, in the commentary on the Visuddhimagga, it does unfortunately say that the Buddha knew the world was flat. So he didn't say anything about the world as something objective out there.
So I have my own theories on this. So I think a lot of people go, "All right, the Buddha said the world was flat, so the world is flat." And honestly, the understanding of a lot of words and translations and stuff is sometimes quite often taken at face value, and this is not what he meant. So if the Buddha said the world is flat, right? I guarantee you he does not mean like he's a flat earther and he thinks that we're on a disc floating on the back of a fucking turtle and 4 elephants, right? The world is flat. Or potentially, well, the world is flat, right? And I'm not saying the fucking planet is flat and there's a disc with a fucking glass dome over it, but essentially the world kind of has to be flat. Otherwise, like it is quite complicated to do anything.
His main interest was the world that we're creating moment after moment. The next one is the soul the same as the body? Is the soul one thing and the body another? Now, he doesn't answer that, and it's something that I think is worth investigating on another little talk. So I won't go into that particular one. And then finally, there were 4 questions around a Tathagata.
So the soul and body, this is quite. I think it's very related and very similar in some ways to the quite often discussed mind-body problem in philosophy. And I did this evening class of introduction to philosophy, and they discussed this mind-body issue, right? And it is quite similar to this religious context of soul and physical body and stuff like that. And I remember like thinking about this quite deeply during that class and stuff, and there was I did come to some conclusion, but off the top of my head I cannot remember it. But maybe if I go back to it, it'll come back to me. But this is what I mean. This is why I've started recording stuff, is because I think about something and then like I don't think about it for months on end, and then I can't remember it until I have to think about it again. And there's no guarantee like I'll come up with the same conclusion. So yeah, that's why I just record stuff and put it on YouTube so I can go back to it. But that is interesting. I might have to revisit that at some point.
Remember, that's how he referred to himself, the one who had arrived, who had gone, who had completed the path. And it refers to any arahat, really. So does a Tathagata exist after death? Does he not exist after death? This is known as the quadrilemma. Does a Tathagata both exist and not exist after death? And here's a headbanger. Does a Tathagata neither exist nor not exist after death? Well, not surprisingly, he didn't make an answer to that. The real reason, of course, was that people were...
Like all religion, right, including Buddhism, right, is obsessed with death, right? Everyone's like always like, oh, what happens after death? Oh, we will go to nirvana. Oh, we will go to heaven. Oh, we will like we will be reborn again, and we will whatever suffer forever, live forever, be in pleasure forever, and it'll be after one lifetime, many lifetimes, never, infinite lifetimes, and like for me, like I could not give a shit what happens after death, right? Because it's not important to me. Firstly, it is at some point in the future, and there is loads of shit to do before that happens. So, like, I couldn't give a shit what happens after death. It's like saying, "Oh, what will happen tomorrow morning on my commute?" And like, I don't give a shit. Like, what I'll do is like make sure that I leave enough time to get to where I'm going. Wake up early enough. If I need to eat breakfast or not eat breakfast or get coffee, I'll make sure I have money or whatever. And whatever I'm doing that day, I'll make sure I'm prepared for it. But like, I don't like go to bed going, all right. I hope the commute is perfect tomorrow. I will just pray for it or ask TFL to ensure that trains are not late. Just beg them through emailing their customer support all night, and do that all night instead of like getting some sleep, and hence fucking up whatever presentation you have. And instead I go, you know what? I don't give a shit about TFL. I will allow plenty of time and prepare for my meeting because that is more important than making sure that praying for my commute to be perfect. I don't give a shit about my commute. I think that's quite a good analogy. That's TFL raised its profile quite heavily there in my estimation, which it certainly doesn't have. Fucking TFL waiting for you when you die with a ticket inspector.
Thinking of the Tathagata or a liberated one as a person, as a self. So he didn't like those sorts of questions. He didn't like any questions that were speculative, basically. So now we move on to a different section, which is the skill in the conventions of conversation. So when a person is asked a question, if they're not consistent about their position or what their position is and what it isn't, about what they propose, and then they change the subject, about speaking from what they know and not from some sort of fake position, and that it's appropriate to the procedure. So this is really when you're having a discussion with somebody, you're not speaking over each other.
I speak over people all the time because it saves a lot of time for me. So that's why I interrupt you, because like you're wasting my time. Either because I haven't understood you, or you haven't understood me, or you're talking bullshit, or like I get it, or I don't get it, and I go, I don't get it. Can you explain? Because like I don't get it, or like I just walk away because I just go, you're a fuckwit, mate.
And politicians are very good at that. I was watching a BBC interview with Varoufakis, I think that's his name, the Greek economist, some of you may know. And there was an economic lecturer there. She was from some Oxford or somewhere. And of course, the interviewer. And at first he was asking the questions, they were answering, it all looked very civilized. And then right at the end, the three of them spoke all together, trying to crush the other. It's just weird. And of course, I didn't get a word of it. So when a person is asked a question, if they're
All right. So anyway, this is also my issue with people that are supposedly experts, right? Having chatting with an expert is like the most boring thing I ever have to do, which is uh, basically deal with someone who is like so sure of their knowledge, right? That any question is seen as an affront to that knowledge, right? So someone goes, "All right, right, I'm training you. This is how you do it," and you go, "But why?" Because this is a waste of time. This is a waste of my time. And they just go, it is the induction. I'm telling you about the company and about how to network. And I just go, but mate, I have been working here 3 months. I've already done the networking with who I need to network with, and I've read the meeting invite list, and like I'm never going to network with any of these people. So like, what is the point of this? You're wasting my time. And they go, but it is the induction. It is mandatory. I'm telling you how to be inducted into the company. And I just go, all right, what I will do is put you on mute and hope you don't ask me a question again. Goodbye. And you can do the same with me. That is fine. Because, like, I can be quite a smug and know-it-all kind of cunt, but at the same time, like, I don't know anything. And what I've all said just now is on the fly. I've not pre pre-prepared this. It's just because I'm a bit sick and I'm not at work or doing anything useful with my evening. So I'm just recording my thoughts because it's either do this or do something else. I don't have anything else to do. All right, thank you. Goodbye. Ah.